Once upon a time, there was a lash artist, and her goal was to make $100,000 a year. She had started her career in the lash industry, and she had heard and researched and understood that this was a billion-dollar industry. And she saw lash artists all across the globe making amazing money. So she took her lash training. She learned how to create beautiful fans. She learned how to get great retention. She learned how to be a lash artist. But what this lash artist did not yet understand was how to make $100,000 a year. She did not understand the business of lashing. She had become a lash artist, but she had yet to become a lash business owner. And guess what? One day she was in the wilderness and she was thinking about quitting. And all of a sudden, she opened her phone and she found her Lash Gang fairy godmother. And she now knows how to make $100,000 a year as a lash tech, whether she's beginner, intermediate, or advanced. Okay, y'all, so let's get into this. Today's video is about how to make $100,000 as a lash artist. And I am going to break it down. We're gonna get into the math so that you can see that no matter if you're a beginner, if you're intermediate, or if you're advanced, you can absolutely make $100,000. It is very feasible. And I also want to be a reminder that you made an amazing choice by becoming a lash artist, okay? So just because you're a little lost in the wilderness now does not mean that you cannot be found and brought to prosperity. Okay, so what's the goal? $100,000 a year, okay? So a 1-year time period. How many weeks are there in 1 year? 52 weeks in a year. So what exactly does that mean? I'm really big on pulling out calculators. So I would recommend that everybody go into your phone, go to the calculator, and make sure you get these very simple equations. So 52 weeks in a year, $100,000 goal. So how much money do you need to make per week in order to make $100,000? As a lash artist, you need to make $1,923.07 a week as a lash artist. Now that may seem like a lot, right? Especially if you're newer, you're like, oh my God, I'm only making $500. That's like quadruple what I'm making. How am I gonna be able to make that? Like only advanced lash artists can make that. Do I have to be charging $200 an hour or $250 or $250 for my sets? Like how am I gonna do that as a beginner lash artist? Or you might be wondering, hey, I'm an intermediate lash artist, right? And I'm seeing that the economy has slowed. Things are changing, right? So now I'm wondering how I'm going to be able to continue to make $100,000 a year. What does that look like for me? So to give you guys perspective, $1,923.07 a week, right? That is $7,692.31 every single month is what you have to bring in consistently in order to be $100,000 a year lash tech. So now what does that mean per hour? Because we want to start with big goals, but we want to reverse engineer them, work them backwards, because we want to get them into like very small steps or very small ideas that we can process. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want to just go and try to bite the whole elephant. How do you eat an elephant? You take little bites. And taking little bites over time, you eventually are able to eat the elephant. So that's the same thing that we do with our goals. So we're gonna say that we're gonna work 40 hours a week because that is the standard of what people work as a full-time employee. So at 40 hours a week, that means that we have to be bringing in $48.07 an hour. So beginners, you guys should be super excited about this because how long does it typically take to do a full set? On average, it's only going to take you 2 hours, right? That is an average full set, right? Sometimes you can even do it in less time. You can do it in an hour and a half. But at a 2-hour set time, that means that charging $99 for a full set still sets you up to be $100,000 a year lash artist. That means that beginners, right? Even if your skill is not there to be charging $250 or $300 a set, you can still make a comfortable living in the lash industry at that $99 full set, which in our industry is considered quite cheap. So the exciting thing is that it's possible. It's very, 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 very possible. So for those of you who are like, how do I do this? That's how you do it. So if you are a beginner, $100,000 year is still very plausible for you. Even at a 2-week refill, if your 2-week refill is 1 hour, you can charge $50. That is very cheap for a lash refill, but you are still at that price point on track to be a 6-figure earner. So now what does this mean for our intermediate girls? So if you are 3 years or more experienced as a lash artist and your goal is to consistently make $100,000, then that means for you that your goals are not quite big enough, because as a full-time lash artist, being a beginner at a $99 full set price point, they can hit $100,000. If you've been lashing for 3 years or more and you have clientele, I would hope that your full sets would be much more than $100, right? I would hope that your refills would be much more than $50. So that means that we have to set bigger goals for you, because as intermediate, you should definitely be able to hit $150,000 for the year as a 40-hour working lash tech. And I'm not saying you got to go work 80 hours. No, 40 hours a week working. As an advanced lash artist, you should be able to hit $200,000 a year. As an advanced lash artist, you should be able to work 20 hours a week and hit $100,000 for sure. And I know that this is absolutely possible because I've done it for years. For years, I made $16,000 a month as a lash artist. This is not training. This is not product sales. This is strictly being a lash artist. And all of that is possible to you as well. And all of that is something that you need. So we have to make sure that our beginners know that it's very possible for you. We have to make sure that our intermediate to advanced girls understand that you definitely need to change your goals. And just to give you guys some perspective of the opportunity that we have in the lash industry, because I also know that there are people like, oh my God, it's so hard to create stability in the lash industry. I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like this. Yes, it is different. It is different being an entrepreneur than it is being a corporate worker. It is different, and it takes a different mindset. So a lot of people, they're trying to figure out, oh, how to do this better, how to do this better. But all you really need to worry about is trying to think differently. If you are trained to be a worker, you're trained to execute, right? Then you're going to find it very difficult to create stability in the lash industry, right? Because people with corporate jobs, right, they get told what to do and they execute. In our industry, you have to know what to do. So it is different. It's a different mindset. But for those of you who want to be in this industry, it is definitely an amazing industry to be in. And I would encourage you not to give up, because I know it can be discouraging. Things don't always work out the way that you want them to work out. That is entrepreneurship, honey. I understand. I understand you can have great months and you can have bad months. That is a part of the journey. But what I am giving you is strategy. What I'm giving you is understanding of the possibilities. And once you pair those two things together with an amazing lash set, when you go through the waves, you should be fine. So what is the opportunity that we have as lash artists? Okay, so the average American, after taxes, and this is taken right off Google, right? After taxes makes $4,865 a month. I told you that as a $100,000 a year lash artist, and you can do this as a beginner, we bring in $7,692.31. So we are almost double, right, what the average American working person makes. The average American is making $28.07 per hour after taxes. A beginner lash tech, in order to make $100,000, is making at least $48.07 per hour. So that is the opportunity. For those of you who are a beginner, you're getting discouraged, please understand that you can absolutely do this, and it is not rocket science. Now, you may not have the answers, but there are tons of people who do. If you are interested in setting up a one-on-one call with me to see what we can do for your business and how we can work together one-on-one to set up a framework where you no longer feel lost, that you no longer feel discouraged, and give you actionable things to execute, as well as shift your mindset from lash artist to lash business owner, all you have to do is click the link in this bio and make sure that you are scheduling your free mentorship call. Now, for my intermediate to advanced girls, okay? Because a lot of y'all are throwing away a lot of money, you don't realize it, right? So you're making money, you have this book clientele, you're making over $10,000 a month, but you've yet to hit 16,000. You didn't even know the 16,000 was a thing, right? You have all these clients coming in. You did not set up your prices strategically. You did not set up your booking site strategically, and you are not strategically positioning yourself to attract the right client, which means that you have probably yet to really establish your marketing niche, right? For you guys, you are definitely throwing away anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a week. And I know this because I have coached so many good earners, right? I recently had a student. She booked Lash Tech, I want to say somewhere between 6 and 7 years of experience, right? When we did the calculations, she was throwing away over $70,000 in profit. Now, this is not saying that she had to get another client. No, this is money that she was throwing away with her current book of business because she just wasn't strategic, because no one had taught her how to be. She was an amazing lash artist. She has no problem attracting the clientele. She's overbooked, right? But she's not over strategic. We were able to, with our coaching program, bring in an extra $4,000 a month for her. $4,000 a month. This is not with any new clients. This is not about working any new hours, extra hours, taking, squeeze in appointments. No, this is with adding strategy to her business. So now if she's been a lash tech for 6 to 7 years, 4 times 6 to 7 years, how much money has she thrown away? Now we have to understand in this business that this is our business. This is not our hustle, right? When you go into corporate America, 401k, pension, vacation, you're getting benefits, dental, all of those things. We don't have that. And we need to understand that at some point we are going to want to retire, okay? I don't know about y'all, but at 70, I ain't trying to be asking nobody to book me for lashes. I ain't trying to be holding tweezers. God willing, with the amount of lashes I've done, God willing, at 70, I can still squeeze tweezers, because at 34, it's getting rough out here, okay? But we have to understand that our life does not stop today, right? We have to plan. The future is now. So if you've thrown that amount of money away, because a lot of lash techs are like, oh my God, I'm making money. I'm gonna go get me a Benz, get my new Mercedes, baller. Yeah, but you're not thinking 10 years from now, 20 years from now. What is it that you're going to do? Are you going to still want to lash in 15 years? Like, we have to make sure that we're being very smart with our money and setting ourselves up for success. Do you have a 401k? Do you have a savings? What happens if our businesses close down? We understand, right? A couple years ago with the pandemic, that they shut us down for months. Like, can you afford to be shut down for months? God forbid someone gets sick. Like, how are you setting up safety nets? Do you have any plan, right? Are you planning to grow your business? Are you planning to sell your business? How are you going to be able to walk away from your business when the time comes? What are you going to do at 65? Because let me be the first person to tell you, bills do not stop because you get older. They still keep coming. You still have to have a place to live, a car to drive, right? Have you used your money? Because this is the thing about lashing. We make so much money. And if you're not making a lot of money, we have to help you get there. But we have the possibility to make way more money than we need. You do not need to spend $200,000 a year. You can probably live off $50,000. If I just told you that the average American lives off $4,800 a month, you can train yourself to live off that. You can put your other money up. You can get that money working for you. Money is a tool, right? How can you invest that, right? Can you maybe buy property? Because a career is typically 30 years. People work at their jobs maybe 30 years. How long is a mortgage? It's typically 30 years, right? So we're putting our excess money, and we're not throwing money away. We're making sure that we are maximizing every minute, because my girls, they are able to tell you how much money they make a minute, okay? Not an hour, not a year, a minute, to the minute. We maximize in those chairs, right? So if you have a mortgage and you're able to pay that mortgage off, right? Or say you put up hundreds of thousands of dollars, and I can already tell you, I've helped multiple people save their first 100K, right? And then they invest and get their money working for them, so that you're also not always working for money. Because what we also have to understand is, while there is so much opportunity in our lash chairs, we are still capped, right? You want to maximize, but I'm only one person. I could not last 20 hours a day. If I choose to work 40 hours, and that's all I got, I can't squeeze more money into that 40 if I've already maxed everything out, right? There are other businesses that can scale way beyond. Like realistically, as a lash artist, you can make great money, but you cannot make $1 billion. You cannot make $1 million as a year as a single lash artist. And I'm saying just lashing. Now, you can definitely do it. You coach, you sell products. Like, there's other ways in the lash industry to make way more money. But as a single lash artist, like a single service provider, you cannot hit $1 million. Like, it's not a thing, right? So we have to make sure that the opportunity that we have is we can make a lot of money fast. So we have to make sure that we're being smart, that we're setting ourselves up for the future, that we're thinking about retirement, that we're thinking about long-term investments, that we are thinking to get our money working for us so that we are not always working for it, right? You should not be a long-term forever lash artist. If you do this lash industry right, you should be able to get in, make some great money, make some great connections, get a lot of understanding of business, because you're going to run into a lot of problems. That is the beautiful thing of business ownership. It does suck while you're running into the problems. But the more problems you run into and you're able to successfully solve, the greater business acumen, knowledge, wisdom you have. That knowledge and wisdom, you can go do anything, because most businesses function the same, right? Now, I'm a lash artist, but I'm pretty sure if someone dropped me into a retail business or they dropped me into management or whatever, right? I know how to get out there. I know how to create stability. I know how to get money from people's pockets into mine, right? Business kind of all function the same. So once you figure that out, you use that lash chair, right? You use that as training grounds, and you can go do anything. Like, you've literally made money with your own hands. You've built a clientele from nothing. You have such a large portfolio of skill sets that you don't even recognize. Now you get money, right? We also gonna make sure you have good credit, because that's the thing, right? And if you don't get good credit, jump into my phone calls because we're gonna get you to understand why credit is so important, and then I'm also gonna help you get your credit together, because you need that, right? And like that's a requirement, right? My girls, no, you might not start with good credit, but you definitely gonna end with good credit, because no, you can't, like, if anything ever happens and you are all of your safety nets, right, you have to go through them, because life can happen, and it can happen to you fast. I've worked with enough people to know that things that you've never imagined can meet you at your doorstep. The last line, right, the last lifeline that you have is your credit, because if you absolutely run out of all of your money, if you have good credit, you can have access to money. You already know how to build a business. You already know how to build income. If you have a little bit of access to capital and you have all the skills that you already have, you can definitely recreate it. We don't want to get there, but we understand that we're not in corporate America. We understand that our businesses have the possibility to decline. We have to also be real with ourselves. So we have to function, right? So we have to operate with a knowing of that and make sure that we are maximizing every possible opportunity and option. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys feel very competent and confident in your ability to make $100,000, because remember, $100,000 is only a $99 set. Remember that a clientele, I know everybody's like, oh my God, I want 20, 50 million, 1,000 followers. Remember, a clientele is anywhere from 80 to 100 people. You can go on the street and walk up to people. If you spend a whole month walking up to people, right, looking cute, go outside looking cute, walk up to people, hand out your card. I guarantee you can build at least 50 people, right? Do that for 2 months. You can build a clientele of 100 people. So remember, $100 a set is $100,000. $100,000 clientele is about 100 people. So again, hopefully that was helpful for any of you who want to work with me. Make sure that you are signing up and booking your free mentorship call. Make sure that you are following us on Instagram at Lash Gang Official. We do have the best lash products on the planet, okay? Like, not the world, not Chicago, not in America, on the planet. So, check those out. I'm just saying, if your glue ain't gluing, you need to be with Lash Gang. And also make sure you're following us and subscribing to our YouTube, because I have tons of great things to share with you guys as someone who has successfully been in the lash industry for a decade